One more target clear task. The ZigZag task 4. This question extends the functionality of the skeleton program to introduce difficulty levels to the game. So we want to have easy, medium and hard in the standard random game, not the training game for test. We want a list of large numbers, which all happen to be multiples of 25, and then we populate numbers allowed, not by adding some randomly drawn numbers, keeping the ones that were still there that weren't used and adding some new one in, but we'll generate a brand new set every time with either, I don't know, we get standard, yeah, with any number of large numbers, and the rest will be standard random numbers, right? Not applicable to a training game. We need to change main, we need to change fill numbers. All right. We name it to ZZ4, and here we go. Okay, so if we're not in a training game, we are going to want to also put a I'm going to put difficulty equals standard. So difficulty, we're going to read the user input. Difficulty level needs to be one of easy, medium, hard. Now this is where I should probably put something like if difficulty, you know, I'm going to put an upper in here so we accept it in lowercase, but if difficulty is not one of the three single characters I've expected to be, so easy, medium or hard, then we again set it to S, so that we keep this as standard if we got something wrong. And then this difficulty variable, I will need to pass it to fill numbers, because that's the one where the logic needs to change. And also I need to pass it to play game, so that play game can pass it to fill numbers. That's for the first fill, and then all of the subsequent fills are done from within here, which is like right here, right? So in here we need to pass difficulty. So we've made sure that every place where we call fill numbers, we are passing this new difficulty attribute. Now we need to, hello, we need to make sure it accepts it. So if we're not in standard difficulty, I'm going to wipe numbers allowed. That is, I'm going to set it to the empty list, because we want to create a new set of numbers every time, right? So before I populate it, I need to clear it. And then if, actually there's a switch case now in Python, it's match case. So if I match difficulty, colon, and I put case E, so if it's easy, I want some big numbers, you know, I should really put them at the top and, you know, kind of pass them down the function call so they can end up in here, but frankly it's a constant. You know, they told us to have a constant. They didn't tell us where they want it to be defined, so it's 25, 50, 75, 100. No, actually, I'm gonna use some if then instead of doing a switch, because we want 4 if it's hard. So we want 1 if it's easy, But then if it's medium, oh no, because I can't, they're mutually exclusive, I can't make them go through. All right, so I still need a switch. So it's 1, 2, and 4, okay. So in easy, we append to numbers allowed dot append, and we append random.choice. Random choice, you pass it a list, or like an iterator, a string, or whatever. In our case, it's big numbers. It will return you a random choice from this without removing it from the list. So if you can pick the same choice twice. It's medium. We going to do this 3 times. No, 2 times. 1, 2, and 4, right? And if it's the difficulty is hard, we are going to do it 4 times. And I must be forgetting something because it feels too simple, and that can't be it. But just it's the side. I'm not doing the side anymore. All right, okay, got it. Super. All right, let's run it. I was already running. Yada. So enter for standard game. Select a medium. Ooh. It takes, oh yeah, of course, I need to change the signature of play game to accept the new difficulty. Are we not doing autocomplete anymore? The language model got tired. Okay, regular game, hold on. I'm gonna, I don't like this. Colon space, that's much neater, right. Random game, easy. I've got one of them, right? And if I anything even like a oh, we don't get a new draw unless I actually clear a target. So if I do this, then bang, I've cleared them, and now I've got another one from the big numbers list. Similarly, if I just go for a medium, this time in capitals, I've got 2, and if I go for a hard, I will have 4. Sorry, yeah, it's 4. So if I do 50 multiply 25 divide 25, well, I use 3 of them, but it doesn't really matter because I'm getting a fresh batch every time, right? So yeah, that's why it would be hard with 4 of those, because then you're kind of, yeah, can't really do much with this. But hey, it's not meant to be a good game, it's meant to be an AQA pre-release, preliminary material, what you may call it, right? So let's have a look at the difference. If I do that 4 and I compare with selected, I have added this new variable difficulty that defaults to S. So if we go in, I should have done a regression testing of the training game, but I'm going to assume it's fine, right? So it's in S, and it stays at S if I'm in a training game, or it gets back to S if I've input something that's not a valid one. So from this point onward, difficulty can only contain S or E, M, or H. I pass difficulty to both numbers allowed the first time and play game, so that play game can itself pass it to numbers allowed for the next times. And then I don't really need just like kind of this. Then at the back, this is change numbers allowed. I accept this difficulty argument. I have my big numbers list here, although ideally I would have it at the top, but that'd be too complicated. Could maybe make it global, I don't know, whatever. And we've got this kind of big new conditional thing. So if the difficulty is blank, we just kind of blank it, but yeah. Hold on a minute, that's not quite correct here. Oh, if the difficulty is not equal to S, which is one of those, which means I can probably put this inside it, right? Because if it's not S, then it's one of those 3. If it is S, so if I've mistyped it, okay, this might be worth testing again. Yeah, we're barely 10 minutes. Okay. So if I put something that gets me a standard game, I get a standard game, right? So don't see any big numbers there. And if I do an 8 minus 3, for instance, it's just going to clear, right? 2, 10, 2, 2, 10, 2, and is added 2 and 9. Cool. Now, whereas here, if I actually want maybe a medium game, then I've got 2 from the big list, meaning that I can take 100 divide 10 multiply 3 to clear the 30. Although it takes care of 3 of them, it's regenerated the whole set of numbers. Right, so that's the diff. Again, I don't think you would be getting a task exactly like this in the exam, but it is helpful to know how the numbers list is populated. And also it's kind of helpful to understand that the way the code is architected, we don't have anything globals and anything there. So if you're in a function, it really can only access whatever was passed here, as well as its local variable. So arguments and local variables. But from play game will pick up everything, right? But from, say, this one, target is input IP and score, I can't have a look at, say, max target or max number. Those are not globals, they're local variables to the main function, procedure, subroutine, whatever. So it's important to understand that if you're then changing this code, sometimes you will need to pass data through back and forth, sometimes like down only, but if you have a look at the, okay, so this one is particularly relevant because we pass in position, but because we may change position inside it, we also need to return it, and wherever it's called, which is like doing that big passing thing, right, we kind of like read the position back from something to which we pass position. This is how all of this code works, and in fact, it's not OOP, but because it's not OOP, it means that it needs to do this kind of, I guess it's like procedural programming, because it's not like really functional at all, actually, which is structured, but kind of slightly annoyingly so, admittedly. All right, thanks for watching, and see you very soon for the next task.